Hello, people. Well, I'm back again with another converter installment. I had that converter, my old original converter, rebuilt by a top line converter. I got it back last week, put it in the car, and went down Saturday to the track and ran it. And only got a couple runs. Got rained out. The air was absolutely horrible. It was a lot worse than the week before, but the converter flashed right where I wanted it to, 49 5,000. So the converter is right on. Um, so I'm very happy with that. Um, I've got the 8-inch, that new 8-inch converter coming. Well, I already have it. So I want to get a few more runs on this converter yet. Since it got rained out last week and only got a couple, I'm going to go down tonight, I think, hopefully, for test and tune and get a few more runs on it and make sure that I think it's fine, but we'll make sure of it. It flashed the first right off the trailer, kind of cool, or not cool, but the car, nothing really warmed up too much. The first run, it flashed for right a little over 4,900, and then the second run, when it was good, everything was good and warmed up, it flashed right at 5,000. So I think it's good. But like I said, I want to get a few more runs on it, and then next week, I guess unfortunately again I'll have to swap converter out to put the new 8-inch in, and probably do the same thing. Run test and tune next Friday night. See what it does. Unfortunately, the only way to test it is to put it in the car. So swap again. But if the 8-inch works as good as this one or better, then it's going to stay in there, and I will keep this then for a spare converter, like was my plan in the beginning of getting a new converter and then getting that one rebuilt at some point. I just went ahead and had that one rebuilt because of all the issues I was having getting the new converter right. So anyway, so that's what we're going to plan on doing, is going tonight and putting a few runs on the car again, and just to make sure the converter's right. But I'm pretty sure it is. It was last week. So and I'll go over a couple of them runs here real quick. All right. All right, so the first run off the trailer. All right, well, let's go with this first. The air was absolutely horrible. It was between 2,800 and 3,000 feet, which is about 500 to 700 feet worse than last week. So it was pretty terrible. Humidity was up there. It was hot. It was miserable. But anyway, the first one off the trailer, the 60-foot right away, it flashed 40, actually just a hair over 4,900 on that first one, and it was a 153 60-foot, which is about 300ths better than it has been in a long time, actually this year. So I'm very happy with that. The ET and mile per hour on both of these were down a little, not much, not even a half a mile an hour really from last week. And the time is about the same, maybe 100th slower than last week. But I kind of equate that to this. The air was just absolute horrible. And the week before it wasn't great, but this was getting really crappy air here. I know even other people I race with, there's another guy who normally run like last week, his car ran 630 or 625, and this week here he was running 633, 634, so he was almost a tenth off on what that car normally runs too. Well, not quite a tenth. I think 620. He was running 632, 33 is what it was. So he was about 700-800ths off of what he ran last week too. So I'm just kind of equating that if I'd have had this converter in last week, I think this would have been probably 3 to 5 hundredths faster, I think, and probably another maybe mile an hour, maybe not quite, but anyway, so I'll probably just show you. These were the test runs, and that's pretty much all I got. It rained out, so you know, these 60 foot, it was really good. It picked up a little here on this one. So I'm pretty happy with this. I'm glad that this converter's right. You know, I sent this in one time and they rebuilt it, and it's actually right where I wanted it to be. So, you know, one time they got it right, which is awesome for this one. So there's a couple other things I was going to talk about here with the carburetor situation that you know, earlier this year, about one of the first things I did with this car on YouTube was do that 750 850 swap deal. And once I seen I was having converter issues, I kind of, that got on the back burner. I just left my old carburetor on, so that doing anything with converter, you know, putting a new converter in and testing it, I didn't have any other variable in it with carburetor, messing with carburetor too. So that 850 kind of got put on the back burner. But I think maybe tonight I might try to put it on, run 2 or 3 runs, you know, with this converter, with the old my normal carburetor on 750, and then put the 850 on and run it. I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure. Depends on how terrible it is tonight, heat wise and that, but I may try and do that, because as far as testing carburetor from you know, week to week, like this week the air was so much worse than last week. It's just hard to compare anything that way. You know, like obviously a converter, unless you're super fast, it's kind of hard to test that same day, you know, at the track, to swap converter out. It can be done, but normally you're not going to do that. So with a carburetor, I don't want to run it and then the next week, unless the air is almost exactly like it was the week before, it's kind of impossible to get an accurate comparison on that. So that's why tonight I'm thinking about throwing that 850 on there after 2 or 3 runs or whatever with this, and throwing that on and see what it does, because that's as direct a comparison as I can get. I know the air could change just a little bit in that time between those runs, but it's better than running it tonight and then next week throwing it on there, because that's the other thing. I'll have that other converter in it next week if I run it, the 8-inch converter. So it's, you know, I'd rather do a comparison at the same air level, the same day if possible, because it's much easier to make comparisons. So there was something else I wanted to show you too on this 850 that I kind of found by messing with it. Here, I'll show you. Alright, I had found something this last week. I got this 850 Brawler back out and I was kind of messing with it, and I noticed that when I opened the throttle blades, the blades, now they're not now, but they went over center, way over, like past to where, like they were like open about like that, but you know, the other direction it was opening too far. Well, I realized on this one, and I didn't see it when I got this carburetor, but this little stop here for the throttle was, that thing, if it'll focus, that thing was all the way screwed down, so flush with that plate. And what it was doing was it was letting these throttle blades go way past open to where they were about like this, only the other way, you know, all the way past and over. So, and it was, this thing with this stop, threaded stop, was real loose in there. You know, you could just, it spun like just real easy. So what I did was I backed it out here. I backed it out to where now the throttle blades are straight up and down, and I put a little blue Loctite in there to hold that screw. I thought I checked this when I got this carburetor, when I put it on there. I thought for sure I checked that opening, but I'm wondering if that being was so loose in there that running the car, that the vibration of the car, you know, running, that thing was so loose that it twirled down in there, and then by the time I ran it at the track, you know, it was messed up. So I didn't remember seeing that. You know, I should have checked that out, but I thought for positive sure I did, and I may have. Like I said, this thing was so loose in there. But anyway, so that may have been why when I put this carburetor on, or part of it, that it didn't run any better, because the throttle blades weren't open all the way. You know, it's not like they were only 3/4 open, but probably less than 7/8. They were about like that right there, only, you know, the opposite direction, because they was going over center. So we'll see. Like I said, it's just something I might try after I run 2 or 3 runs with this the way it is now. But anyway, I've always been wanting to get back to running this, putting this 850 back on here. It's just with all the converter issues I've been going through, this kind of got put on the back burner. So anyway, that's just kind of a little update on that. And anybody see, like my 750 Holly doesn't have this little thing. It's a different, you know, linkage, and it just hits right there and stops. So, but this one you can adjust that. But anyway, so just thought I'd show that little tidbit. There's a new 8-inch converter that I'll be throwing in next week, and we'll see what it does in. Hopefully it's good. All right, well, I guess that's it for now, and thanks for watching, and hopefully everybody has a good weekend. Happy Father's Day to everybody. All right, we'll see you. Bye.